Well, welcome, family caregivers. This is your family caregiver, Queen C. Pinkston, right here. Guys, tonight, wills, living wills, power of attorneys. Um, these things are essential. They're checklists that we need to have in place. Um, they're crucial aspects of caregiving, ensuring that our loved ones' wishes are honored and reducing stress during caregiving times, guys. These things are critical. And we do not like to talk about these things. No, we don't. No, we don't. I don't know about other cultures, but I know in the Black culture we do not like to talk about these things. Um, Living wills and things of this sort, you kind of feel like, no, no, no. If we talk about them, something is going to happen. So I really don't want to talk about that. I can remember my brothers saying sometimes, I don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about getting a will together. You don't want to talk about um, the living will. You don't want to talk about power of attorney. You don't want to talk about. We just don't want to talk about that. And so we feel that if we don't talk about that, it will go away. But we know that it will not go away. It is essential that we talk about that. So today on this video, we're going to talk about that, some of those essential things. All right? It's highly important. So we have a short clip we're going to play. But first of all, let's go through some things and let them reiterate that. Number one, wills. Wills and estate planning. So you want to draft the will to outline how assets should be distributed. Now, I did will seminars. I'm a part of Legal Shield, and I would do will seminars. Now, if you want to have your caregiver stressed out, you cannot do a will. You cannot do anything, and you can just leave it, and it can cause a big havoc in families. But as a caregiver, if you know, and if you can talk with your family members, and if you can get them to do these vital things we're talking about tonight, do their wills, do their estate planning, do their power of attorney, do their excuse me, living will, do these things, it's going to take a lot of stress off of you as the caregiver. It depends on what your role is and who you're caring for, if it's your mom, if your husband, whomever you're caring for. So we want to talk about some of that tonight. So number one, what do? We draft the will to outline the assets, how our assets should be distributed. And just because you're doing a will does not mean that it's the end, guys. We don't want that fear. This is wisdom that we put things in order. I have a will and I got to get it updated. We need to do that. All right. Include guardianship plans for minors if applicable. So if you're the caregiver and you're caring for your parents and there are some younger ones there that need to be cared for in case your parents pass away, somebody need to be in charge of that. So somebody need to know who is going to do what. This is absolutely necessary. All right. So you're saying, well, yeah, no. And it doesn't always have to be the oldest, in our culture sometimes it's the oldest. The oldest is going to do this, or the oldest doesn't have to be the oldest. You have to talk with your loved ones when I pray you have an opportunity to do that, when they're in their right mind, when they're in their sound mind, is not altered by dementia, it's not altered by Alzheimer's or some other brain issue, but they're in their right mind. And then they will sit with an attorney. If you are the caregiver, and if you are a child of that, if it's your parents, the attorney will not have you in the room with them if your parent is making that decision. Usually it will be, if they're kind of sickly, it's going to be the doctor, if they, and the attorney. And that's what I had to go through. It was the doctor, the physician, and the attorney. I was not there because I was a primary caregiver and I was also a child. It was my parent. So if there are other siblings that are, if there's other siblings, so that way, whatever decision the parent is making cannot be said that it was influenced by that child that was there, because the child wasn't in the room. If that's you, you won't be in the room. It'll be between you and the attorney, the parent and the attorney, or the, okay? And if they need a physician there, you can have it set up where your primary care doctor can be there, so that they can decide who gets what, when, how, and why they want that done. Then once the will is drawn up, then you'll find out. Then you'll find out. Then everybody will find out if they want that. Now, if the parents say no, only the primary caregiver, the one that's carrying out stuff, or only the power of attorney, whatever they say, that's how you'll find out. Now, as a caregiver of taking care of my mom, of course I had to know. So once it was all drawn up, then the attorney sent letters to everybody that was still alive to let them know what her wishes were. So what they did for me on this will thing, my mom didn't own any property at all. She lived with my husband and I. So she owned no property. But however, the wordings of the will stated whatever she owns would go to me. So what was that? Probably a few dresses that I probably helped buy, a few shoes, a wheelchair, and I'm not making fun of it, but I'm just saying that she owned nothing. But yet legally it had to be documented that way. Okay. Now, so there was no younger kids, so we didn't have to do the guardianship. The second point, power of attorney, POA, power of attorney. Assign a financial power of attorney to manage financial decisions if the care recipient is unable to do so. So they're not able to, if they're receiving care, they're the care recipient, they're the one that's receiving the care. So they need to assign somebody to be able to handle what, their Social Security, saving account, if they have anything in there, if they have any investments, they have a 401k, what CDs, whatever they have going on, whatever's going on, somebody needs to be trusted enough to be able to be the power of attorney for your loved one that you're caring for. So it might be you. You might be the one. Or maybe they say no, then I'll choose another child or someone else. Or maybe I just leave it all in the hands of my lawyer. How do they do this? But someone has to be done. You just don't want to leave it blank. And oh my God, that is one of the worst things that you can have, is to have something blank. I've seen it happen. No one can make decisions for this person. The doctors are calling and the person is suffering. There's no one there to say what they want, what they don't want. Leave them on the machine, take them off the machine. What are they going to do with their house? What are they going to do with the cars? What are they going to do with the clothes? What are they going to do with the furniture? What are they going to do with anything? Nobody knows because they made no decisions. Because they say, why? We didn't want to talk about that. I just don't want to talk about that. Whatever happens, happens. I don't want to talk about that. But it puts such a strain on the family and on the caregiver because now they've been the caregiver and you've been giving care. But now there's this other part, and now we got to handle it, and we don't know how. I don't know how because they didn't tell me anything. They didn't want to legally do anything. And now we got to make these decisions. And then you can have other family members come in and or friends. You have folks, I'm being real here. You have people come in from the outside who maybe was never there. Maybe they were never there with you. You were the one doing it all. And now all of a sudden all this comes in, right? Well, who's going to do that? And you're going to hear on this tape how if you don't have the authority as a POA, as a power of attorney, you can't get into those accounts. You will not be able to do it. I know it personally. You will not be able to do it. I had to have my name there. It had to be designated that you can do whatever. I don't care if it's $2. You will not be able to get in there. Your name has to be there. Designated by your care recipient, the person that you're caring for. They have to literally say, yes, I want this person here on there. You won't be able to get in. You need to consider a healthcare power of attorney to designate someone to make medical decisions. This is a lot of times, this is huge because if you're in a coma or the person you're caring for is in a coma, it could be from anything. Or they had a severe stroke, car accident, brain injury, Alzheimer's, severe dementia, or whatever's going on. What medical decisions are you able to make? Do they just keep going on in this condition? Should we do surgery? Should we not do surgery? Should we remove a limb? Should we not remove a limb? Should we put them on dialysis or should we not put them on dialysis? Should we do open heart or should we not do open heart? What should we do? Should we just leave them? Should we put them in hospice or should we not put them in hospice? Should we do hospice at home? Or should we go to a facility? I don't know. Because we wouldn't talk about that. Wasn't anything we want to talk about. We felt it was, I don't know if you believe in luck, bad luck. We felt it was something we wouldn't talk about that. Right? Just wouldn't talk about that. So we need a power of attorney. We need the estate planning. How about the next thing? Advance directives. Advance directives. What is that? That's continuing in for your care. Ensure living wills are are in place to specify preferences for medical care. It ties right into what I just finished saying. You got to have that power of attorney, whoever can designate what kind of medical care you can get, right? So the living will. I never forget this case. I've seen 2 or 3 of them, but it was a case. Something happened um, at one of the areas where I work. Okay, person was doing fine, fine as far as up about knowing where they were, living their lives, coming in, getting their treatment, doing fine. Something happened. They ended up getting comatose. Apparently, there was no living will. The person was younger. I'm sure they probably hadn't want to talk about it. So now we're continuing to treat them. We have to. And they're just totally brain dead. And they're just there, and they're just there, and they're just there. Now, somebody will say, yeah, but, you know, I've seen God bring people back, and He has. He has. There's been people in comas for years, and they came back, and then some didn't. There's some been brain dead, God restored, some not. That's not the point that I'm making here tonight. The point I'm making here tonight is we need to have some guidelines in place. So the person you're caring for as a caregiver, you can say, well, okay, I just need to know, what do you want? So if you get to the state that you're comatose, do you want me to let you remain there? And if so, how long? Like, would you like me to maybe 6 months or a year, or what do you feel that you would like to see happen before a decision is made to either let you go home and be with the Lord or continue in the way you are? I need to know so that I can make the right decision. The right decision for you to carry out your wishes, not mine, your wishes. That's what this would be about, to carry out your wishes, not mine. All right? If you get to the place where you can't make decisions at all, you can't feed yourself, the person needs to know, you as a caregiver, you got to know what foods are your loved ones allergic to. Some people can't have fish. They'll go into an anaphylactic shock. Some people can't have chocolate. Some people can't have nuts. I know a friend who can't get near a wool coat or a wool sweater. And she just break out like mad. But you, as a caregiver, have to know this. So, as you're caring for your loved one, you know all these things. Now, if they're in a facility or if they got to go to a hospital, they got to go somewhere, and now they're trying to give them food to eat or give them something, and they're allergic to nuts, and it has something to do with nuts in it, peanut butter, this type of a thing, and they're getting worse and still getting better, and you can't figure out what's going on. Oh my God, well, what have you been feeding them? Well, we had something, she can't have that. She's allergic to that. Oh, we didn't know. You got to know those things. You got to know those things. You're saying, well, this just seems so overwhelming. Not really. Not really. I believe as you're caring for your loved one, and you're in the greatest place to get this information, because not only are you a family caregiver, you know them. You know what they can eat. You know what they can't eat. You know what they like. You know what they don't like. So then you got to go a little deeper and find out. Sometimes you're doing giving a bath or something. I just need to know where do you want to be buried? The Lord calls you home. Where do you want to be buried? Do you want to be buried by maybe they're a widow? Want to be buried by your late husband? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be, any idea? You ever think about that? Yeah, right now. Oh, no, honey, I'm going home. Just put me right next to my husband. Or take me back to Georgia, take me back to Florida, take me over here, take me over there. That's where I want to go. Now, I don't know if my niece knows this, but I often share with her that where I want to be. She's my overseer, my representative. Where I want to be. Yeah. And how I want it, yeah, yeah. And I'll do it again and then update my will and know exactly this is what I want. I often tease her a lot of times. I don't need anybody preaching my funeral because I'm preaching it every day as I live. I'm doing it. I'm preaching it now. So, you do your typical comments, but then I might even write that out. Yeah, because there's nothing to say. I've lived my life. Yes. So I don't deserve, don't want a long drawn out ceremony where people are standing and saying and talking and doing this. There's no need. But I believe that we can share that now. This is me personally. We can share that now. We can show that love now. Because there's nothing you can do for me when I'm gone. So I'm trying to do all that I can now. Do all the good that I know to do. Obey the Lord. Live for God. Do what I do now. So there's really not an awful lot for somebody to say. I'm not saying that I won't be there. My spirit will be gone, so they can say what they want to say. But I'm just saying, for my wishes, and for her to carry out my wishes, she'll know that. Well, no, we don't need to have long, drawn out anything. She didn't want that. She only wanted this, this, and we're done. Yeah, yeah. Well, no, she doesn't want to be on the machine for days and years and years. No, she doesn't want to be. No, that's not what she wants. So she'll be comfortable till the Lord take her home. Or however you want to do this, you see. But she'll need to know that, and I'll make sure she'll know that. Yes. All right. Legal consultation. Seek a lawyer who specializes in elder law or family caregiving for guidance. You can't just get any attorney. It has to be one who specializes in elder law. I had to do that for my mother and a precious attorney. He was a precious attorney. And he would come and he would sit with her and take time and ask her questions. Outstanding attorney. Great bedside manner. He never rushed her, excuse me, when she was trying to get her thoughts out and say what she wanted to say. He never rushed her. He would sit and listen to her however long it took for her to make sure that she say what she wanted to say, how she wanted to say it. And you want someone like that. Family caregiving for guidance. He understands. You're the caregiver, he guides you through it. This is what you need to do, and this is what you don't need to do. You need to have this in order, you need to have that in order. And they're good at that, and there are attorneys out there that can help you for that. Document organization. Document organization. Keep these documents easily accessible but secure. You can have a little, back in the day, they would call it a strong box. Little black box, little strong box. And you put those documents in there in your locker. What is your marriage certificate? Your copy of your will, your insurance. Make sure I already know the name of the insurance company, these type of things. And I know today a lot of things are because we're in the with our technology and in the digital age, a lot of things we can have on our computer. But I think and I know that it's a good thing also to have a hard copy, to have a backup, to have a backup because computers can go down and things can happen. And secondly, you're going to have to know if their information is on a phone or computer, you as a caregiver gotta know the passwords. You gotta know how to get into that thing. You gotta know how to do that. So you gotta have that um, communication with your loved one that you're caring for, with your parents. They gotta know that you know this stuff. You know, the word trust is coming to mind. Trust, and that is that's a big word when it comes to families, family caregivers, and when it comes to the Black family. I know that's in the Black community, in the Black culture, trust is a big one. But you have to be able to find someone that you can trust. It's not easy because because of the history of people abusing family members, stealing from family members, just doing wrong things is there. But we pray against that and we bind that spirit. We bind it in the name of Jesus and we ask the Lord to bring us someone that we can trust. If you don't have children like myself, I have my niece. But if you don't have somebody that you're out of all of your children, that the Lord would show you and you know your children. We used to do this in the will seminar. Time say you can have 5 children, 10 children, 20. I don't care what you have. Parents know their children. You know which one of your children can clean you up if you've regurgitated all over yourself. Or unfortunately, you've had diarrhea and you've soiled yourself. You know which one of your children will come in and clean you and take care of you. You know this. Or if you passed out, or if you're bleeding, something is going on. You know, out of all of your children, which one you can call that will be there for you for that. Not that the others are bad. Some just can't. Oh my God, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I got a weak stomach. I just can't. I love you, I love you, I love you, but I just can't. I can't. And there, that one, oh, sure, I got you. Clean you up, bathe you, do whatever you need to have done. You also know the one that whatever funds you have in your purse or wallet, and you then are away, or maybe you're in the hospital or wherever you are, and they have your purse or wallet, you know which one will return it to you the way that they took it away and kept it, or if they had to use funds out of your purse or wallet, they're going to give you a receipt or something to let you know what they took out of there and what they did it for. You know who you can trust to do that. Or with your children, you know who you can trust to take care of your children the same way you would take care of them. So now you're unable to. So who is that person that can do that? Well, these are the people that you're going to have on your list in your living will and for your power of attorneys. Now, the wills, most people sometimes, I've seen this happen, get concerned about first things first. Okay. My car, my house, my clothes, who's taking this, who's having that, blah, blah, blah. And that's very important to make sure things were distributed properly, because if you don't, it causes all kinds of commotions, hard feelings, children fighting and doing this type of a thing. I've seen that happen too. Not physically fighting, but I've seen a lot of bickering go on. Just recently, there was a client that I knew, parent left funds, and there was a lot of bickering going on. A lot of bickering going on. And sad thing about it was, I think one ended up passing away before they were able to even get it solved. They weren't able to get the situation solved, and because they were bickering about it, I guess it's not solved now. So that's but as the caregiver of that loved one, you're going to find out this information, and probably if you're the primary caregiver, you're the chosen one. That's why you're there. So what you're going to do then is make sure this information can be safe kept. Copies are kept, so you won't be struggling trying to find out. Oh my God, where are they? I didn't know what happened. We had them over here. We had them over there. We put them someplace. No, you're going to know where they are, and you'll make copies and you'll share them with key family members or a designated a person. So you might be the primary, but then just in case something happens to you, somebody else needs to know, but it's got to be somebody that you trust. It's got to be somebody that your family member trusts. It can't just be anybody. These are things that you have to work on, that you have to pray about, feel a peace about in the Lord. It's not easy decisions. That's why folks say I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that. But it's the greatest, greatest, greatest love letter that your loved one can leave you as a caregiver. They can't give you a better love letter than their heart's desire than this. Because it will free you up. It will free you up. No matter who says what, you will be able to make decisions. And you'll be able to make decisions with confidence. And it will relieve the stress, and you'll be able to say, I'm okay because I'm doing what they wanted. I'm doing what she wanted. This is what they wanted right here. And I'm carrying this out. What a feeling. What a feeling. Oh my God. You'll be able to sleep at night. My parents are in heaven. My husband, they're all my family. They're in heaven. My family's in heaven. But I'm able to sleep at night because I carried out their heart's desire. All right. Let's see if we find a clip that I want to share pertaining to this very thing. Guys, I'm doing restream, so I'm not able to do the actual split screen here. That's a whole nother project that costs a lot on restream to get that done. So I'm not affording that yet. So we'll keep doing the phone, and let me know if you're able to hear it and if you're able to see it, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right, so let's do this one. And it's talking about caregiving checklists. And this is from the Today Show. And it was a while back, but it's still important information that we need to hear.
Oh, it was so vital. I was really lucky because my parents did do a lot of planning. They had a lot of things in place and I could find them. The last thing you want when you're in a crisis and you're so stressed out as a caregiver is to be searching for documents and materials. Okay. There were a few things I had to go for, like their marriage certificate I had to get a new copy of, but I was lucky. You know what? There are so many families who just don't want to talk about it, even when it's looming. And now we're talking about the holidays. We'll be around loved ones, but this is something that we have to do. Let's start with some important legal documents. If you're a caregiver, what should you and your loved one make sure you're set up with? Well, you want to have those conversations about what their wishes are, and someone needs to be set up as a power of attorney for finances and property, so they can manage your legal affairs, your finances, your property matters. And it's a really good idea to consult with an elder law attorney or elder care attorney or an estate planning attorney. And then you also need to make sure that a will or a living trust are in place so that you know how to carry on out their wishes. What do you mean institution specific? So sometimes I had this experience. I had power of attorney for my parents, but they sold a property that was in their living trust and the check went to the living trust. But we had to have a checking account for the living trust. Even though it was on my parents' accounts at that bank and I had power of attorney, they would not let me open that account for them. And so it was a real hard thing for my mom to sign all those, 20 signatures and go through all that process. A lot of times you have to step in as a caregiver because of health reasons. With HIPAA laws and everything, what are you entitled? Like, what information can you get from the medical team, and what should you have in order? Well, the first thing to do is make sure your loved ones put their advance directives together, and that's just in advance making your directives know what you want. And that includes a power of attorney for health care or medical matters, which is separate from the financial. And many people don't realize that. And once you have that in place, then that person can access your documents and make decisions for you if you can't make decisions. Another part of that is a living will, so that you know when it comes to your end of life care, what do you want done and what don't you want done in terms of extending your life. A do not resuscitate order may be part of that, and that is for people who don't want any extreme measures to revive them if they die. Those HIPAA forms that you get at the doctor's office, we all sign them all the time. Make sure your loved ones are putting your name down as someone who can receive that information.
And really quick, last one. I mean, it's not just the key legal and medical documents, I would imagine. There's other vital information that you want to make sure that you have before things take a turn.
There's so many different things that you need. For example, I needed my parents' marriage certificate so my mom could get some of veterans benefits that my dad was getting. You want to make sure that you know their funeral plans, burial plans. Many people have prepaid burial plans, deeds to the house, things like their medication lists and what doctors have prescribed what. Talk to other caregivers. They're the best resource for knowing what is needed. I have a thread going in the AARP Facebook Family Caregivers discussion group right now. And everyone says, I needed this. And then you know to do it ahead of time when you're not in a crisis. It's a tough conversation.
It is. And it's so essential because so often caregivers feel like they're on an island. And the reality is they're not. They're literally millions of other people who are on that same island. Amy, thank you.
Always support at aarp.org/caregiving.
And in addition to that, we've got more information about caregiving resources on our website as well, today.com.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for watching.
So I wanted to bring that piece because I thought it was so important in backing up what I was saying to you. That link, I will put it in the description box if you want to hear it again. Okay. And also, the National Kidney Foundation, and then there's caregiving.org, and there's a few other ones that I usually put into the description box to help you have resources to find out things that can help you in what you need to know. Guys, what I would really need or love to get from you guys would be comments, questions, stories about you, and if you've had to deal with any of this. Like she was saying, she have a thread going. Well, I have a group that's on Facebook. There's a group out there on Facebook, and it's entitled Black Family Caregivers. And there's other groups out there, guys. Come in, talk about it. Let's communicate. Talk about it right here. Bring your stories. I have many people that tell me that they watch the videos. They can actually tell me what I said on the videos in various things, but they're not commenting. And we need to get that thread going. We need to communicate back and forth because we can help each other. We can really help each other if we will start doing that, guys. So if you have a checklist or you ever thought about doing a checklist, um, give me some pointers on what you put in your checklist if you ever did that. Or if you don't and you think it's a good idea to start a checklist, let's talk about that as well. Just what are your thoughts on the discussion that we had today? What do you think that need to be done more, or anything you may have? One of the let's see, I had another. I won't go through all of these. We'll do this on another video. But when you hear me talk about cultural competence or talking about the culture, and remember I said find an attorney that understands the culture. Why is culture so important? It's essential in caregiving because what it does, it ensures that care is personalized, it's respectful, it's effective, it's particularly in diverse communities, particularly in the Black community. Um, it matters a lot. One, we have to build trust. We in the Black community have to build trust. You remember talk about trust earlier. Why? Because so many things have happened to us that we lost trust in attorneys, in the system, in um, the banking system, money system, all kinds of things. We've lost trust. So you got to build trust. So it's highly important. Um, uh, Building trust. You see, when caregivers and healthcare providers understand and respect cultural beliefs and practices, it fosters trust and stronger relationships, which are a key to effective care. So let's say we talked about making your loved one that you're caring for, making their wishes known. And I threw out some things. I said, do you want to be buried here? You want to be buried there? Do you want to be cremated? Well, it depends on the culture. Some people don't believe in cremation at all. Some people don't believe in, um, maybe in the ground burial. They want to be on top of the ground, or they want to be here, or they want to be there. A lot of times it's cultural, and so we need to be able to understand. Not all cultures believe, ethnic groups believe in beliefs are the same. So that's one of the reasons we really put emphasis on that. Um, in addressing specific needs, when you have somebody that's competent in your cultural competence, it helps the caregiver recognize and address unique health disparities and challenges that might be prevalent in certain communities. So in the Black community, maybe we don't believe in um, eating rare meat or something. Okay, not too many in our culture. We don't eat too much. We mostly eat meat that's going to be cooked, well done. Also, we don't. There's no blood can be in the meat. Very few African Americans that I know of eat rare meat. That's just a cultural thing. No, it needs to be cooked. Okay. Um, there's other things that you can think of, but there's if you have that understanding, you'll know more and feel more comfortable on how to care for your loved one. You understand the culture. Now I want to share this with you too. This just came to my mind about culture because I have some friends that are from they're from the Black community, but they're from a different culture. They're maybe from a Jamaican culture, or from a Caribbean culture, or from an African culture, or from somewhere else. What am I saying? They're from a different, we look the same, melanin is the same, but the culture is different. People do things differently in Jamaica than they do here in America. We do things differently. When I went to Africa, I saw we do things differently here than we do there. Okay? But yet we look the same. We have the same melanin. We look the same. But we had to understand that things are different. So I went in to learn what was the culture in Zimbabwe and how things were going there, where in turn is totally different from here. See, so I need to understand that part. So then that's why it's so important that we build trust. So you as a family caregiver, you you are trusted and you build that trust so you can ask these questions and you can get answers to a lot of these questions that other people will not be able to get because of that. Very important. It's extremely important in improving communication because when my mom came to live with us from South Georgia to New York, her accent was different, her beliefs were different, her mannerism was different because she was used to the Southern culture. The way she grew up, the way she was raised, that was the way we did things. And so when she moved here now, she's in the North, and it looks the same, but the culture is different. People do things totally different. And so when I would take her to the family physician, it took a while. I was there as the uh, advocate and also like translator because a lot of things that my mom would say, the doctor couldn't understand the language, the terms that she was using. But I knew what she meant. So I could explain it to the doctor and say, oh, she means this. Oh, she means that. She wasn't speaking a different language. But to the doctor, it seemed like a different language because she was coming from a Southern culture. Okay. And the doctor was actually Jewish. So even though she's treating many African Americans here in the North, yet someone is coming from a different culture, from a Southern culture to here. She's hearing maybe words that mean the same, but being described differently. And she's like, okay, I don't really understand what she means. And I go, okay, she means this and she means that. So it's very, very important in communication. Um, it reduces misunderstandings. It can reduce you get your loved one getting the wrong diagnosis. Because if you have a doctor that don't fully understand what the person is saying because of cultural reasons, they don't believe in this, or don't believe in that, or don't want this, or don't want that, and they might be like, well, we don't know, or give it to her anyway, or do this. It could just cause a whole bunch misdiagnosis, all kinds of stuff. So these are all essential points that we need to have in making sure that we have a checklist together. We know exactly where things are, what the heart's desires are. In that video, she mentioned so many things. I never thought about the marriage certificate because with the VA, and that's a whole nother world. You got to have that, right? Birth certificates, you know, all kinds of things that we have to have. Um, Social security numbers, yeah, social security numbers, social security cards, Medicaid, Medicare cards. Um, if someone passes away, you got to have the death certificate, things of that sort. No, there's a lot. There's a lot of things and this is why it's so important that we have that little box, that little area there, because when you're already stressed out dealing with the situation that you're in, to have to run around and try to look for things and find things and research things and call things, it can be too much. It can just be too much. So we don't want to do that. Um, I don't know if you'll be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, how you will be able to organize it. What is a good way to organize it? I'm sure some of you have some outstanding plans that you've already done in doing this. I would love to know some of those. Maybe you have something that can help somebody else. With us being culturally competent, you know the culture, you know what's happening. Now you can do like I did with my mom, advocate for fair treatment, advocate for access to resources. You know, my mom used to have a way of saying she would go to the doctor, and you might have experienced this, because in her day, they were taught to kind of keep whatever was going on to themselves. And so the doctor would say, well, how are you? Or are you having any difficulties or any pain or anything? And she said, well, no, I'm feeling all right now. And I said, no, Mom, you're feeling all right now. But you just told me last night that your leg was bothering you. That, well, yeah, it was kind of bothering me a little bit over there. I said, okay, we need to tell her that. You are telling me these things. But the doctor is the one that needs to know so she can try to figure out what is going on. You were telling me that you ate something and your stomach is totally upset and you didn't understand what was happening, but you need to tell. Now we're at the doctor's office, let's tell the doctor. So a little point on that thing, what we did was we would write it down. So we would keep a little list. So same way I'm telling you now, the wills and the living wills and the power of attorney, things in order, we also would write those things down. So when we get there, with all the surroundings and all the other things that are going on, you don't forget. And you'll say, okay, she was complaining of her head, and there was headache over here, complaining over this over there, this was happening over there, and blood pressure was this, or whatever the case may be. And I would say, oh, okay, great. But otherwise, culturally speaking, we're supposed to really kind of keep it into ourselves and not tell too many people. And that, I think, can lead to where the misunderstanding comes, that we can tolerate a high level of pain. So if we're hurting, they don't give us good medication, pain medication, or whatever the case may be. No, 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 no. We must make our wishes known. We must make our desires known. Even with God, He tells us to make your requests known. He said to come boldly before the throne of grace and make your requests known in the time of need, that you may find grace and help. So we got to be able to make our requests known. So it's not just something that we're doing on our own. It's from the Word of God. We have to do that. He also tells us to ask, to seek, and to knock, right? So we don't keep everything shut up inside. We need to get things in order, get everything decently and in order. And as I'm talking to you, my mind is turning. Is it something else I need to do? Is it something else I need to do? Yes, I do need to do something. I need to update my will. As I'm talking to you, I know I have one, but there's been some changes that have happened in my life in the last maybe year or two, whatever the case may be. So I need to update it, bring it up to par. Yeah. So this is not just for you. I'm not just talking and pointing fingers and preaching at you. We're all learning this together. So I'm learning this information. I'm sharing it with you. And I pray that you will share with me. Let us talk. Let us communicate, guys. Let us help each other. This is a time that we need to help each other. It's no more like you heard on the video, that you feel like you're in an island, you're alone. No, you're not alone. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of caregivers out there. Millions. We're not alone. But if we kind of keep it in to ourselves, feel that we must just not let anybody know what's going on, and we'll feel like we are an island, and we can get overwhelmed. All of these things can overwhelm us. But if we have them kind of a little bit of order going on, it relieves a lot of stress. So, oh, here it is right here. I don't know, but everything is in this box. Everything is in this lock it in this container right here. We put everything in there. You might have to lift up a couple of things, but it's all in here. God is a good God. He's a God of order, and he wants us to be at peace. There's so much going on in the world today, so much stress, so much going on till we don't really need to be stressed out any more than we're already stressed out. We don't need to be overwhelmed, pressed down, depressed, oppressed, stomach upset, getting ulcers, headaches. No, no, no. God wants us to be at peace. At peace. He says, my peace I leave with you, not as the world leaves, not as the world gives. My peace, the peace of God, which surpasseth all understanding. You know, I didn't have a hymn chose for tonight. And I've been giving you guys old favorite hymns. I don't have an old hymn tonight. I don't think I'm here. Do I have an old hymn? Here's an old hymn that we sang when I was growing up in school. And I just turned to it. Let me see. See if you ever remember this hymn here. It says, my faith looks up to thee. We used to sing this so much in school, elementary school, and church school. It says, my faith looks up to thee, thou Lamb of Calvary, Savior divine. Now hear me while I pray. Take all of my guilt away. Oh, let me from this day be wholly thine. May thy rich grace impart strength to my fainting heart. My zeal inspire as thou hast died for me. O may my love to thee pure, warm, and changeless be a living fire. I don't even know if we used to sing the second verse, but I know we was definitely saying, my faith looks up to thee, thou Lamb of Calvary, Savior divine. Now hear me while I pray. Take all of my guilt away. Oh, let me from this day be wholly thine. What a beautiful, beautiful hymn. It was written by a man by the name of Lowell Mason, 1792, and he died. He was born in 1792, and he died in 1872. And it was arranged by J. Jefferson Cleveland. Wow, wow, wow. Also, there's somebody on here also that helped wrote it. I guess his name is Ray Palmer. Born in 1808 and died in 1880. A long, long, long time ago. We're talking about 1800s with these hymns. And can you see how they still bless us today? How the words are just so, oh my God, so beautiful, right? Do you ever listen to the hymns that bless your spirit? She said, well, she was talking about wills and now she's talking about hymns. I know. I like to leave on a high note because wills are not the most exciting thing. Power of attorney is not the most exciting thing, right? Living wills are not the most exciting thing. But the joy of the Lord is, right? And out of all of this, getting things in order, having peace of mind can bring the joy of the Lord. Because the joy of the Lord is our strength. So I pray to all caregivers around the world. And I pray specifically to Black family caregivers. It's okay to talk about this. It's okay to put things in order. It's okay to have that love letter. It's okay. You're not leaving before God is ready for you to leave. I'm not leaving before he's ready for me to leave. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's in charge. So let's trust him. And let's just put everything in order and do what? Let our faith look up to him, thou Lamb of Calvary. It's been a blessed time tonight. I pray you've had a blessed Saturday. I pray you get up and go to worship tomorrow. And if you can't go to worship tomorrow, Maybe you join me in my fellowship online. We'll be online right here. Ark of Jesus Ministries will be online. Won't be on Restream. We'll be live on YouTube. Yes, yes. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're welcome to join us. Yes. May you have a blessed time. God bless every caregiver around the world. And we will see you in our next video.